Our journey begins. It is day 139, October 17, 2024. And I was trying to think about what to do for today's video, and nothing was really that exciting, which I think is probably a result of not the most tremendous sleep. And so it's like, when a project that you're excited about all the time, when you're not excited about it for a while and you're like, man, this is just stupid. Like, you just think of all the reasons that what you're doing is like totally not worth it. That it's just a little bit of your mind telling you that, you know, it's like the ins and outs and probably just being too tired and whatnot. Um, so yeah, rest assured, I'm going to continue working on it. But I was thinking about something that would be interesting to talk about, which is everyone seems to have opinions about everything, and especially people that like aren't that well off have opinions about how life is supposed to work. And yet in general, like, life isn't really that great for most people. This is how I think about a lot of things. When people say this is how it's always been done, that sort of thing, it's like, well, sure, and maybe that's helped make some improvements, but you can't tell me that the world is in that great of a state right now, and that we just have to keep doing what we've been doing, and that somehow the world is going to all of a sudden become this great place. And that's sort of the way I feel about all sorts of things. Like, we're probably going to have to rewrite basically a lot of the stuff that we currently do, like a lot of times before we've iterated to really actually having a really great world. Like, this is the way I think about my daily routine, is that I've been on this journey of trying to iterate it to become better and better. But then recently and lately, it's just been really hard with all of the different various things that I have in my routine to feel like I'm doing well. It basically creates stagnation, even though it's like consistent improvement. It still feels like stagnation because you're doing the same things. Um, and I guess you could say that about the progress of the world. Like, we're making improvements. It feels like we're not making improvements. But I've been thinking this about my own routine, is that I need to be doing different new things. Like, sure, there are some consistent things that we know generally work, but even then, there's so many things that people don't try, and there aren't really good answers. Like, there's no book out there that's like, this is how to live life perfectly. Um, and I think that itself is evidence that we don't know all the answers, and yet it seems like so many people act like they do. And it doesn't really matter. It's probably just a cognitive bias where they just have to kind of rest assured that they know something, and that way they can like feel good about their daily lives or whatever. And that I understand. Like, I'm sure if you were to ask me about 10 things, I'd probably tell you my opinion and why my opinion makes sense. And even though I try to be open-minded, so that's why I usually finish stuff with like, but like, I'm totally open to your opinion if yours makes logical sense. But then if they seem to offer some other solution, it's usually just like a negativity bias, or essentially like a bias where they just assume things are always going to have to work that way. Like, a lot of things that come down to human nature. Like, why do we have to assume that human nature is always going to be the same? Anyway, all right. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.